Okay, so next up is sexual behavior of people with the image snake in their individual programs. So the chat is off and we're moving on. So if you watch some videos about the sexual behavior of snakes in nature, you will see why men and women who have this image of a snake in their programs, why they like to hug so much. And they like to hug so tightly that you could almost hear bones crunching. And of course, no sexual process goes without such strong embraces. Temperature of the environment they're in plays a much more important role in the life of snakes in general and in their sex life as well. As we know from biology, snakes, they are cold-blooded creatures, and this means that their internal temperature, it depends on the environment, and it is regulated by the environment. At very low temperatures, snakes will what is called brume, which means that they enter an awake but really temporarily inactive state. So when it comes to sex, if the temperature drops even a little bit, even slightly from what is necessary for snakes to remain active, they become unfit for sexual interaction, or at least they stop being interested in sex. And the same goes for people with the image of a snake in their individual programs. So what does this mean? It means that if for any reason you want to avoid sex, or its continuation with a partner who has the image of a snake in the program, it is very easy. All you have to do is by any means significantly reduce the temperature in the room where this person is at, and that will do it. And it doesn't matter how you do it. You can open up windows, doors, turn off the heater, for example, or do whatever else. But if your goal is the opposite, if your goal is to motivate a person snake to have sex, then you need to do the exact opposite, meaning you need to warm him or her up by any means. For example, you can offer a certain amount of cognac or some other high-proof drink, or raise the temperature in the room to make it hot, to make them sweat, or invite to dance. Because a person who has the image of a snake in the individual program will never refuse to dance, especially if dancing includes hugging, of course. People snakes, they love to dance. And if they brush up on their skills, they can actually achieve great success in this and become wonderful professional dancers. But even without special training, people snakes, they dance quite well because nature gave them flexibility of the body and, of course, beauty of movements. And you can see that for yourself. But anyway, we got a little distracted from the main thing. I just wanted to say that the best, the healthiest, the most natural warm-up for people with the image of a snake in their programs is dancing, where they actively move, spin, get touched, and of course tightly embraced. And after that, you can give this person some cognac or some good wine in order to keep him or her warmed up, of course. If you follow all of these recommendations, it is guaranteed that your partner will throw himself or herself on you, and you will not have to do anything else to persuade this person to have sex. He or she will do it in all the holes. And you will have what is called oral, anal, and normal sex. Anyway, you should also know that in the state of excitement, women and men who have this image of a snake in their programs, they take off all their clothing. They will not have sex in clothes, no matter how much you might want to. And keep in mind that even if you consider your partner's snake's outfit super sexy and exciting, he or she will take it off as soon as sexual intercourse begins. Why? Well, because it's recorded in their programs to be naked during sex. And it's better to know this in advance, so that you don't get disappointed when, for example, you buy your girlfriend snake some expensive lingerie and she just takes it all off at the most unsuitable moment. For women snakes, actually, there are other games and toys which can be much more useful than outfits. For example, dildos. You can use single or double-ended ones, meaning those that stimulate the vaginal and anal openings simultaneously. Why? Because in nature, male snakes have two penises. And this means that if your girlfriend has the image of a snake in her individual program, then she might not be satisfied just by your one member. In nature, female snakes are used to mating with multiple males at the same time. And you can also see this in the videos. But of course, in our human culture, this type of sexual relationship is called polyandry. This has nothing to do with sexual debauchery. It's just that many women who have the image of a snake in their programs, this image gives them not only love of group sex, but also sex with several men, and not vice versa. And the same goes for men snakes. For example, they are capable of accepting this, and they will gladly allow their partners to take someone else's penis orally or anally while they're having vaginal sex with them. But if you don't have the image of a snake in your individual program, then of course it's very likely that you won't be able to understand your girlfriend's snake, even if you really want to. Perhaps her disrespectful attitude towards you and her strange sexual fantasies, from your personal point of view, of course, all this might put an end to your union. But in order to avoid this, first of all, you should know that it is normal and preferable for your partner snake to have several men in bed at the same time. And secondly, you should know how to satisfy this natural desire that she has without inviting other men to your bedroom. For example, in this case, you should know that if, as a man, you use the above-mentioned sex toys during sex with this woman snake, then this way you will satisfy her needs and avoid having other men in your bed. Of course, there are some additional tricks that you can use to solve both of these problems. The first trick is to have a bedroom with a large mirror or mirrors in which your girlfriend will see your sexual intercourse in real time. This way, she will unconsciously perceive it as participation in group sex. You can get the same effect by recording sex with her on camera and then watching it with her during sex. Just don't forget to stimulate absolutely all the holes. Of course, ears and eyes don't count, but if possible, try to use all other holes at the same time. It doesn't matter whether you do this with the help of dildos, your hands, or something else. And of course, don't forget about embraces. What else should you know about having sex with men and women with this image snake in their programs? Well, for example, you should know that in nature, snakes mate for a very long time. They can do it not for just hours, but for days. So if your partner is a snake, you should keep this in mind so that you're not shocked when you find yourself in a long-distance race. And of course, it's better to be prepared physically and psychologically for such a marathon. Of course, you don't want your girlfriend, your unsatisfied partner's snake, after 5-10 minutes of sex with you to start masturbating or even crawl into some other bed right before your eyes to finish what you started. So, you should understand that in their minds, a few minutes of having sex is not sex at all. they have a different recording in their programs, that sex should be long, and there's nothing you can do about it. So what to do if you're not a stayer in the bed? That's a question to you, because there are many ways and means that you can use. You just need to find the one that works for you personally, the one that you find suitable and acceptable. But anyway, in addition to hugging in the process of warming up before sex and before any other activities actually as well, warm up is strictly a must for a person snake. And it should occur on the outside and on the inside simultaneously. So it's important to know that the process of warming up a person's snake on the inside includes not only cognac and other strong drinks, but also eating. Because food not only satisfies their need to eat, but it also increases their sexual appetite. So don't be surprised that after you feed your snake, and don't forget that snakes eat only meat, fish, and eggs, you will be dragged to bed right from the table. Because for snakes, food and sex are connected. So, if, for example, you have an image of, for example, a horse in your program, and you just present your penis like you're used to your partner snake, then he or she might mistake your member for a sausage, for example. Because in nature, snakes can consider their sex partner as food. And no, I'm not saying at all that people with the image of a snake are cannibals. Not at all. But according to combining principles of eating, behavior, and sex, the partner will be unconsciously perceived as a tasty sexual subject, among other things. So taste is a very important factor for people snakes, and during sex they will definitely taste their partner. Lick, chew, bite. Maybe that's why people who have a snake in their programs choose a partner very carefully. In the sense that it's really important for them how their partner smells, taste of skin, and so on. And since snakes consider sex as a sexual feast, you will greatly please your partner snake if you play games like boobs with salt, for example, or penis under vanilla sauce. He or she will be ecstatic to lick it all off of you during sex. And then they will not have to eat you. That was a wordplay. Anyway, as for biting during sex that was mentioned already, this happens not because your partner snake is a sadist, but simply because he or she needs to scratch teeth, and it doesn't matter on what. A partner's butt, penis, or boobs. But don't worry, usually their biting and chewing is very gentle, very careful, and it doesn't cause inconvenience to their sex partners. But if they do overdo this in the process, then it's not a sin to stop them and bluntly tell them that you're feeling pain. They will easily understand this because people with the image of a snake in their programs, they don't want anything to do with sadism because they have a very sensitive skin, very low pain threshold, and they view any pain very negatively. So don't be surprised that if you cross some boundaries on your way to getting sexual pleasure and hurt them even just a little bit, you'll either be punished or it will be the last time you have sex with this particular partner. Also, people with the image of a snake in individual programs, they're a treat for those who like oral sex. They're truly great masters in this. And plus, you won't have to persuade them to do it for very long. And another thing, if you have an image of a fish in your program, you should know that there are others who like to do it in water, just like you. That is, people with the image of a snake. Of course, this will largely depend on whether a person has some specific snake in the program, like a viper, for example, or all types of snakes like we're discussing right now. In the latter case, it means that this person also likes to have sex in a pool or in a jacuzzi or in water in general. Because there are snakes, like for example anacondas or venomous sea snakes, who live in water like fish. And this means that sex in water is for them too. So very briefly, this was about people with the image of a snake in the sexual factor. I bet you're giggling because you recognized some of the people you know. Well, let's open up the chat. You can share with me and we can move on to questions.